Hello everybody, this is Oak Tree Tarot Reader here and welcome to my pick a card video. Now today's theme is the year ahead. I want this video to be timeless, so it doesn't matter really when you watch it. It could be literally at the end of the year, it's December going into January, or it could be just coming up close to your birthday. It doesn't matter, you can still watch it and can think of it in those terms instead if you should so wish. If you would like to buy a year ahead reading from me, then you can do that. Please email me on oaktreetarotreader@gmail.com. That email address is in the description box along with the timestamps to each of these three readings, and I'll also put in a link to my Instagram in case you would like to follow me. But yeah, I don't do the traditional January to December or whatever or a birthday reading per se, because I do find that the tarot really just does reflect the energies of now, and if you're trying to predict 6 months to 12 months ahead in the future, it doesn't really work because we all make changes in our life. And if the reading at the beginning of the year initially says you know, watch out for a particular thing, and you watch out and completely avoid the problem, then the anticipated issues for later on in the year don't materialise because you've taken action. So what I do when I do a year ahead reading is I look at what you need to sort of work on leaving behind, you know, sort of leaving behind bad habits or bad situations, and what you need to embrace in your life. And I look obviously at specifically career, love life, and sort of generally, and anything that in particular that you want me to specifically look at. But it's the energies and attitudes that you need to leave behind and bring towards these elements of your life that I look at when I look at the year ahead. I don't really predict what's going to happen over the year ahead because, as I say, I believe that you can change things. So it's more clarity and insight I offer. So this in a way is a miniature reading, offering you what you would get if you were to pay for one, but obviously you get a lot more in a paid reading. So yeah, so we're going to look at what would the sort of energies over the year ahead of the next 12 months of what you should be working at removing from your life, what you've outgrown, what you need to leave behind, what you need to move towards, to embrace what's going to be good for you. And I've also shuffled out a couple of angel answers oracle cards for just some sort of like oracle messages for you. So I want you to just feel relaxed, feel calm, take a few deep breaths. If you want to concentrate on one aspect of your life, then you can, but these will be general readings and I would describe them quite generally, because please remember that they're not going to be specifically tailored for you, that these videos will be watched by a lot of people and everybody leads their life in a different way. So not everything's going to resonate for you in these readings. So just bear that in mind. But I want you to close your eyes, take a few deep breaths and make your choice. We have options 1, which is on the left, option 2, which is the set in the middle, and option 3, which are the set on the right. I want you to trust your first instinct. Don't overthink it, don't doubt yourself, just which set of the three were you automatically drawn to. Now if you need a little bit more time for that, then please press pause, because I'm now going to be moving on to reading 1. Thank you. Okay, so this is reading 1. That was the set on the left. So for the year ahead, these 3 cards represent what you've outgrown, really, what's time to leave behind. For some of you it might be a situation that's not doing you any good, but for others of you, you might just find that it's yeah, okay, so sorry, broken off there. For others of you, it might resonate as a particular situation. For others of you, it might resonate as being a mindset that you've got yourself into, or just generally that you think, yeah, I am fed up of that and I want out of it. So we've got for you the Blasted Oak, which is the Tower card. This is the Wildwood Tarot, by the way. Then we've also got the Stag, which is sort of the Justice card for this tarot. And then we have the King of Arrows, which is the Kingfisher. The arrows, oh, they're the ones for this. Sorry, that's completely slipped my mind. Let me just check it up. Element of air for the King of Arrows in this tarot. So, I mean, first of all, we've got two major arcana cards here. So I really do feel that most of you've had something life-changing happen, maybe over the past year or maybe over the past month, but something's changed in your life quite dramatically. Some of you, it's the end of a relationship, others it's the end of a job, some of you might find it's been a friendship or just something, I suppose from your perspective, catastrophic, that this is sort of, you know, you need to rebuild your life sort of card. Not everybody will find it's a truly dramatic change to their life. It's just unsettled you. It's really changed something important in your life. So you might still have the same relationship, live in the same house, have the same job, but it could be within yourself something fundamentally has changed. Because this poor person, completely naked, been struck by lightning, falling from the tree, but in the process, these fiery binds that is holding onto him have been broken off. So whatever's happened is going to be a blessing in disguise. So you might have just found out a hidden truth about yourself or someone else around you, and it's really shook you up. You might have found out that you've been lying to. You might have found out that you've been a victim of fraud, or that somebody that you trusted, although they may not have acted directly against you, actually is in some way disreputable. Or you found that a job that you thought was secure is not so secure, or that it doesn't bring you any happiness anymore, and now you're thinking, well, what do I do if my career doesn't bring me happiness anymore? What am I going to do next? And it could be again with a relationship, that it's sort of, they've been cheating on you, or you suddenly realise you don't love them in the same way anymore. But these are the things that are not serving you, that you outgrow. So I think that you've had the trauma, but now it's time to move on from that trauma, to either begin the healing process or to complete it. Because these two cards, I mean, the Stag is justice, which is about balance, but about logic. And it's sort of the law of give and take. In this deck in particular, it's about how, you know, sort of humans take far too much from the planet. We're sort of stealing all of its resources and leaving nothing else for all the other animals on the planet. This is the oak tree of life. And you know, so it's this sense of judgment. So some of you might feel that you've not gained your entitlement, that you feel that you still deserve more. So if you have been let go from work, that you feel that you should get an extra enhanced payment, or if you've split up, that you should get more of the furniture when you both move out, or a bigger alimony or something. But you need to let go of that, because this card implies that you're only going to get what you're entitled to. And that doesn't necessarily mean karmically, although of course for some of you it's a case of what have you put into this relationship or position or something. But if you're thinking, well, I should have a particular something, you're only going to get either what you're legally entitled to, or really what you have put into this thing. You're not going to get perhaps what you would desire to get. For others of you, you're just being too logical and too fair in this sort of great change situation that it is for you. You being too fair and too logical and too unemotional, because the King of Arrows is therefore the King of Swords. This Kingfisher represents being impartial and unemotional This is all about being all head. So some of you have had such a shock that it's sort of numbed you emotionally, and you're just thinking, okay, think about it logically, use your head, let's get the facts and figures. But I think actually there's too much of that, and now it's time to, as I say, the healing process, to bring your emotions into it, to feel things. So I'm not saying get angry, but get passionate about something, you know, get passionate about getting what you're due. If it's a case that you're not so much looking for more than you're entitled, you're fighting to get what you're entitled to have. So in order to get that, you need to go more into an emotion. Definitely, I think some of you maybe have been a bit depressed. You know, sometimes when something tragic happens, you're so emotionally overwhelmed that you sort of shut down. And I think for some of you, you've experienced that. But over the next year, it's time to move beyond that, that it's not helping you anymore. It probably did help you initially to cut off your emotions, really, because it allowed you to get things done. You know, you sort of do have to have the practicalities of life sorted out, even though something terrible has happened. You know, like sadly, when someone passes away, you still have to organise the funeral. So if some of you say, no, actually this is how it resonates for me, I'm sorry for your loss. But now's the time to actually properly get back into your emotions, because these three people are all on their own. You know, it's all about being on your own and sort of dealing with, I think, with the nuts and bolts of stuff. And yeah, not particularly emotional, I think, for a lot of you, and it's not serving you any well anymore. So that's what over the next year you need to start thinking about leaving behind. What we have next, in a more positive news, is the things you need to move towards, the things you need to embrace. So I suppose you could say opportunities that are going to present themselves over the next year. But not really, it's more emotional within yourself, opportunities that you perhaps need to create for yourself. But certainly aspects that you need to work on. And we have the Queen of Summer, Four of Winter, and the Princess of Summer. Okay, so yeah, definitely emotions, because the Summer in this deck, which is the Fairy Tarot by Doreen Virtue, Summer is Cups and Winter is Swords. So Queen of Summer, loving, comforting, emotional, intuitive. Listen to your heart, intuitive insights you can trust, taking care of others, perhaps too much. So, I mean, I said that this feels like the loner card, unemotional, logical, too much into the emotions. Maybe you're the one that's caused the catastrophic moment. Maybe you're the one that's ended the relationship rather than had it happen to you, or quit your job. And it's caused a bit of like, oh my gosh. But now you need to start considering your own emotions and the emotions of others to fall into this loving and comforting, emotional, intuitive energy. So you need to start considering the impact of what you do, or the impact of what's happened on yourself or those around you. So if you've got children, the impact that it's had on them and the people around you that you love and that love you. But definitely listening to your heart. I do feel there's been too much head and not enough heart recently for these people. And so it's saying over the next year you need to look to your own emotions. Set aside your concerns for now. You can make a decision later. Solutions that come from meditation, the need for more sleep or a vacation. So if you have been sort of overwhelmed with this blasted oak situation, you need to leave it alone for a bit over the year. I get very much actually here, regardless of what I said, that I don't think there's going to be much movement in your situation. I think you're just going to have to step back and let things develop as they are. We do have like the Stag, which is again representative of justice in the Rider-Waite Tarot. So if it is literally a court case, you just got to let it go. You got to let the solicitors and the lawyers sort it all out, and you've got to wait for the trial date to be set, or the hearing, or the mediation. I know it says meditation, but it could be mediation. So I don't think there's much action actually that you can take. And so the benefit for you is to just say, okay, I can't think about this anymore. I can't try and find anything out. I've got to let it rest and let the professionals that I'm paying to deal with it, and just have my, I don't know, monthly updates or whatever updates from, as I say, your lawyer, solicitor. And you've got to focus on your emotions, because we've also got the Princess of Summer, gentle, sensitive, kind, inexperienced. A new relationship or emotional experience, invitations to social events, a compassionate friend you can share your concerns with. So some of you might immediately think, oh my gosh, I know exactly who that is. So if this is representative of a person that you know, then certainly reach out to them and spend a bit of time with them to see what support they provide. But I also feel that there's this inexperienced element, that this is all going to be new emotionally for you, and you need time to process that. So if we're talking about invitations to social events, I think actually it's the people around you, family, friends, people that you have good relationships with. And even if it's not one individual friend who, if you've got a lot going on, it might be too much for just their shoulders. But if you've got a group of friends that can support you, it's going to be great for all of you, because you have got something new going on. And if you can talk to them about your emotions and how you feel and get their input and listen to what they have to say to you in order to help and guide you, you're going to find this year very healing and I suppose in a way very profitable. But emotionally, it's just you're gonna look back and say, you know, actually it was a great year because of the way that you connected to your friends, and you confirmed bonds or reinforced bonds or even made new ones. So it's sort of, whatever this is, it's catastrophic, but then you look back and you say, you know, actually I wouldn't have the life I have now if that hadn't happened, and if I hadn't had that year afterwards when I sort of developed into the person you're going to be. So I don't think that overall that there's terrible things happening. I think that you've sort of already gone through that, but now you've got to focus on the emotional side of your healing over the next 12 months. Yeah. And I can't emphasize to you how valuable that is for you and for the rest of your life, to deal with these things relatively as soon as they happen, because the longer you leave it, the harder it is to overcome these things. It's much harder to overcome these things. So now we have the 2 Angel Answers Oracle cards, again by Doreen Virtue, and we have, oh, you're ready within the next few weeks. Okay, so I mean, I try and leave this sort of more to intuition, these 2 cards, because they're so snappy. But clearly a lot of you that with option 1, that you're really actually at the point maybe where you're ready to reach out emotionally and ready to sort of say, oh, yeah, I do recognise I need to step back. That you're more towards the end of the journey than at the beginning of it. You probably don't realise how far you've come, that you can look back and say, oh gosh, I can't believe actually I've done all that. So yeah, within the next few weeks, I would say within the next few weeks, you might find that you're in this situation already and are ready to leave behind this sort of lonely, isolated energy that you've been in, because you're definitely ready. So those of you that chose option 1, that is your reading. I do hope that you feel that it's helped you. Please let me know if it has resonated with you and makes any sort of sense to you in the comment section. Otherwise, I shall leave you with it. I wish you all the best of luck for the future. Please take very good care of yourself. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye. Okay, those of you that chose option 2, that was the set in the middle. Here is your reading. So we have 3 cards here that are representative of the energies and whatever that you've outgrown, that are no longer serving you, and over the next 12 months it will be good for you to work towards leaving these behind and making room for new things. So we've got the Sun of Life, the Page of Vessels, Otter, and the Queen of Vessels, which is Salmon. This is the Wildwood Tarot, by the way. I do get asked that a lot and I never remember to reply, so if you've asked me this before and I've forgotten to reply, I do apologise. And by the way, there is a video that I uploaded where I showed all of my different decks, if you want to have a look at that. So yeah, so for me, I feel that for a lot of you, actually no, I'm going to start with what I feel for some of you. You're very ego driven. It's very much about you. So recently it's been about your journey, your heart, your letting your star shine. You know, it's been about you. So maybe you've been single, maybe you've been working towards gaining a qualification, getting a promotion, or some sort of drama has happened in your life and everything's revolved around you. Now the time has come to stop that. That you're now to focus on other people, really. That although you've got all the support that you've needed, you don't need it anymore, and maybe you're just enjoying all the attention. And it's time now to stop that. Because I do feel actually overall for the majority of people, this isn't representative of them, because I feel that quite a lot more people are going to say, but actually no, but this makes sense because there's someone like this in my life. I think for the majority of you, the message is you need to leave this person behind, this sort of person that it's all about them. When they have something terrible happen, they call you and you've got to be there to give them the support that they want and need, but they never really return it back to you. When it comes around for you to need a shoulder to cry on, they're suddenly busy. And it's representative of somebody like that, that it's time, you've outgrown them and it's time for you to let go, because we've got the Page of Vessels, and vessels represent emotions. And this is the good friend. This is the emotionally available friend. Sometimes they're exploited. This is what makes me think that really it's not necessarily the people watching the video that this is for. For others of you where you think, well, actually no, actually that makes sense, it is me, it has been a bit, you know, all about me recently. You're the one that's exploiting your friend. This is representative of a friend that you've exploited, and you need to stop that. You need to start thinking about them and having a more equal friendship relationship. If this is representative of work, the same applies. If you've got someone at work and it's all about them, they want to get all the credit even though you've done a lot of hard work, you need to stop supporting them and letting them take that credit, because it's a sense of exploitation with this card, as I said, and it's, I'm trying to think how the best way to phrase it. It's that you're there for them emotionally and you give and give and give and you don't get back. You don't get back, or you're the one that just doesn't give back. And this is what you've got to leave behind, this expectation that you're not going to get back what you give. You know, you've got to have an equal relationship, an entitlement. If this is a love relationship and this is your partner, you've got to stop being the giver and let them be being the taker. It doesn't mean they have to end a relationship or end a friendship or quit your job. It means you need to try and change it so it's more of an equal footing, where it's less about the ego and the one person shining above all others, and the other person, or people even for some of you, being sort of the servants or slaves to them and their desires. Because the Queen of Vessels is about empathy and compassion and consideration for others and oversensitivity. So basically we've got like the two emotional people cups about what you need to stop, what's not serving you, what you need to leave behind. You've got both of them there. So this is like a deeply embedded situation or relationship. You know, it just reminds me of the person who's a friend, excuse me, Sorry. They've always got a drama. Something's always going on. Oh my God, I've just found out, oh, you know, this, that, the other. And then when you have something terrible happen, you know, that's just, you know, and you're distraught, and it's, you know, and they're like, oh yeah, I know what you mean, because I remember when I had this happen, and they turn it back to them. You know, oh my God, my grandmother's died. I can't believe it. Can you come round? I just want someone to cry with and to listen to me. Yeah, yeah, sure. And they come around, this person, and they sit you down, and then the next thing you know, they're crying about their pet that died when they were 6, and they've used up all your tissues, and you're like hugging them, and you're like, but I need you to care for me. And they haven't done that, because you're giving up your emotions to them. And it just strikes me that both the otter and the salmon are both moving, sort of looking and sort of leaping towards this person who's the sun of life, the shining one, whereas what it should be is like that maybe it's time to look away from them and towards something new. This otter is ready to jump into the river, carry on living its life, I don't know, doing whatever otters do on the side of the river. And this salmon is ready to leap up the waterfall in order to go and spawn and have baby salmon, you know, fertilise some eggs. So I think that possibly a lot of you are ready, and you recognise this unhealthy situation, and you're ready to move on from it. It's just you need that little bit, you know, of extra courage maybe. I mean, we'll see what the move towards cards show us. But certainly you're giving too much to whatever this sun of life represents. A job, a person, a situation, maybe an emotion. As I say, for some of you, it's about you. You're the ego-driven one, and it's all about your sensitivity and your emotions. And some of you, it's not about an external person, but it's like your emotions are enthralled to your ego, and it's holding you back in that everything. Your ego can't allow you to compliment someone else or to consider their emotions, because it just might mean you lose a little bit. Of course, you're not going to lose anything by that at all, but you need to let it go. This situation needs to be got rid of. However it resonates with you, it's time to move on from it, because I feel that there's a lot of, this is you and you think, yeah, I'm a loving, giving person, this situation here is exploiting that emotional giving that you're capable of, and I feel that you do have a lot to give if this is you. A lot of emotion, a lot of care, a lot of compassion, that you really care for other people and this person, but now it's getting to the point that it's not doing you any good because you're not getting it back. So, better news. These 3 cards represent for over the year ahead what you need to move towards, what you need to embrace in order to make a success of the year, or the best you can overall for the rest of your life even. We have Unity. That's interesting because that's the Hierophant card. This is the Fairy Tarot by Doreen Virtue. Oh, Lovers. Oh, I do like it when I see that card. And the Prince of Winter. Okay, so I can see, yeah. So, Unity. Do the right thing for the right reason. Compare traditional versus new approaches to see which works for you as spiritually minded community. So it's time for you to reach out, and I'm drawn to this compare traditional versus the new approaches to see which works for you. So I think that you definitely need to change whatever these 3 cards represent for you. You need to change your approach and the way it's happening. So if it is a relationship or a work situation, you need to start saying, well, I can't have this carrying on the way it has. We need to try something new. And this is where you find space to experiment over the next year to find the right balance, because that's what you need to do next with the Lovers. True love that is long lasting. Choices made from the heart, a return to good health. So for me, that immediately strikes me as that if this is a love situation and you want the relationship to continue, if you work towards a new way of living within the relationship, then the choices will be made from the heart to, you know, because you both truly love each other, that you'll both decide, yes, I am going to work with this person to not exploit their emotions so much, to not be so uncaring of their emotions and being so ego driven. And once you do that, there will be a return to good health, and I would take that as a health of the relationship. For others of you, where it's not a love relationship, it's a friendship or a work situation even, once you sort of draw the line and say, I'm sorry, but I'm not always going to be on the phone for you, I'm not always going to be able to just come in at the drop of a hat, I'm just not doing it anymore, I'm going to work my allotted hours, or if I say, no, I can't come round to listen to you cry this time, I'm not coming round. You will suddenly find that you have all this time and space and emotions available to you, that I feel that for some of you, you will be able to find new love, if that's what you're looking for. True love that is long lasting. You might end up meeting the person that you will marry, because your time isn't going to be tied up by this person or situation. And you'll be able to do things like explore your hobbies, and through exploring your hobbies or getting out more and meeting other friends, you'll meet someone new. And you'll be able to make this choice from the heart. And the return to good health will be because you're not so stressed out and worn down by this other person just taking. And that's where the opportunity will come from, because you'll just be out there more. And that's the best way to meet new people and find new love, is to get out there. And to meet new people. So I think, yeah, for a lot of you, you might find new love. I won't promise that, but you might find that things just work out better for you because you, as I say, have more space and time. And if it's a result of this sort of new approaches, it's going to free up a lot of things for you. And one of them is the opportunity to find new love, if that's what you want. Next we have the Prince of Winter, which is the Page of Swords. No, it's not. It's the Knight of Swords, sorry. Seek out an intellectual solution to your problem. The need to act quickly and decisively. Sudden or unexpected changes. So I do feel that for a lot of you, you're just suddenly going to go, that's it. You're going to have an epiphany. You're just going to suddenly think, why am I doing this? What's going on? Why, you know, you might even, you know, pack a bag and end up on your parents' door at midnight and say, I can't believe I've been in this situation for so long. I'm going to come back home for a bit. You know, and this is like the Hierophant is also, and the Unity represents your group, you know, the sort of shared, the spiritually minded community. It's your community, and your family is definitely part of your community. They are the supreme community for most of us. But if not, there's going to be people that you can turn to, I would say. But I think you're just going to suddenly realise, and you'll just act quickly and decisively and bring unexpected changes. Especially, I mean, from this person's perspective, suddenly you'll go no, and they won't understand why or what's hit them. But you're going to have to fall away from this overly emotional, compassionate, caring, understanding their emotions and having, as I say, compassion for their emotions. You're going to have to, you know, be focused and determined and say, no, not anymore. Because there can be a real danger if this is sort of a partner that has been, it's all about them and they just take. And you leave, and then you're saying, I'm coming round to get the last of my stuff, and they're there and they sort of got you and they sweet talk you into giving them a second chance. But then the relationship's exactly the same and nothing's changed because they're not interested in changing. This is where you have to have your determination, where you come back for your stuff and they say, oh, come back, I'll change, I promise. So you say, well, that's great that you're changing, but it's too late for a relationship with us. You'll need to take all that improvement that you're willing to do, and your next relationship will benefit from that because it's over between us. And it's the intellectual solution. So some of you, once you start focusing more on your head than your heart, the solution will come to you. When you put aside your emotions, suddenly you'll see things clearly and you'll see a solution to the problem. and that's when I think you'll act. A lot of you will act quickly and decisively when you see the solution to your problem, and that's sort of what you need to move towards over the next 12 months. Even if new love doesn't come over the next 12 months, by doing these things, you're getting yourself into a good position to be ready for new love. Because sometimes we meet a new person and we're just not in any fit state to actually make a successful relationship, and that's a shame. So we have the Angel Oracle cards, again by Doreen Virtue, and these are just your last two sort of oracle card messages for the year. Get more information a year from now. Okay, so definitely, I mean, I always say follow your own intuition first, and especially with such little information, but I do feel that, yeah, definitely most of you, if not all of you, don't have all the information that you need in this particular scenario, or even let's extend it to areas of your life that you're missing key pieces of information. I'm drawn to an intellectual solution to your problem, so have a rootle around. You know, you might find something out that then leads you to this situation of quick and decisive. So start reaching around, finding out new things, speaking to people, reaching out to your community, spiritually minded community, people around you that you trust who will tell you the truth. Be ready for what they might say. Who knows what they might say, but be ready for it. And I feel for a lot of you, this journey is going to take a year. Don't look at that and think, oh my God, I've got to put up with this for another year before anything happens. No, you can start it straight away, but I feel that for you, the process will last a year. So this time next year, you'll look back and say, well, yeah, I started it 12 months ago, but, you know, with all the events happening, it has taken till now till this is all resolved. So if you split up from this person, friend, whatever otherwise, you might hear throughout the year them, you know, sending you a text message, oh, how are you, how you doing, what's going on, or find out that they're still speaking to all friends, trying to get more information about you, and that it might take them a year to realise that it's all over, whereas you realised quite early on. So just think about that although it's over, it'll take maybe a bit longer before it's properly over. Yeah, but don't be frightened of that. It doesn't mean that they're going to constantly be in your life if you want them out of it. It just means that you might end up still hearing about them, or, you know, you might meet people and they say, what do you mean you're not there anymore? You're not doing that with that, you know, you're not with that person. Or, you know, people keep meeting you in the street and they say, oh, what's all this thing with you and so and so? Yeah, it doesn't have to be an intense sort of frightening thing for a lot of you, but yeah, get more information, be prepared that it's going to be a slower process than most of you possibly would like. So those of you that chose option 2, that's your quick guide to the year ahead. Please let me know in the comments section whether you feel it's helped you or has resonated with you. Please take very good care of yourself. I wish you all the best of luck, and thank you very much for listening. Bye. Okay, hello those of you that chose option 3. That was the set on the right. Here is your reading. Now for you lot, it's slightly different because I only wanted 3 of these cards, which represent what you need to work on leaving behind over the next year, things that don't serve you very well that maybe you've outgrown. And as I say, I wanted 3, but 5 came out when I was shuffling. So we shall see how that resonates with you. So we've got, I think I'll move these out of the way because I've got more to do. So we've got the 3 of Bows, which is fulfillment, the 8 of Stones, which is skill, we've got the Hooded Man, which is the Hermit, we have the Ace of Vessels, Ace of Cups, Waters of Life. Just shuffle that on a bit more to make card 5, which is the King of Stones, Wolf. Just check. Yeah, they're all on. So yeah, so these are the things that you must leave behind. So definitely I feel most of you, if not all of you that chose option 3, you've definitely been on a journey of retreat. I think very much a spiritual journey, because we've got the 3 of bows, which is fulfillment, and it's very much a sort of inner spiritual journey for this deck, which is the Wildwood Tarot, by the way. This is about a spiritual inner journey where you go off. It's the meaning of life, inner wisdom. That, you know, I don't know which direction this person has come from, but there's 3 options. They can go that way, or that way. And yeah, it's just about retreat and journey, but this is what you need to leave behind. So I think you've been at this crossroads, and now you're ready to move on to one of these. I think you found a lot of fulfillment in this inner journey, and I say that because of the combination of cards, but we've also got the skill. We've also got a card that represents developing new skills, of learning new things, of literally developing skills. So I think a lot of you have, as I say, been retreating into learning about new things. And again, it's a spiritual journey. So you might have still been at home, living your life, going out to work every day, having a holiday. But in your quiet time alone, you've been learning a new skill. And it's, for some of you, yeah, it's a practical skill, but it's about the inner journey of learning about it, that it's taken you on, that's a significant thing. So if you still feel, oh, I've got so much to learn, well, yeah, of course, we've still got stuff to learn. You never really, truly stop learning in life. But actually, I think you're a bit more of a master than you realise. In fact, you're sort of qualified and ready to go. It's just you developing a bit of experience. For others of you, you are skilled and experienced. And now it's time to come out into the world, because we've got the Hooded Man. And the Hooded Man is a card of lonely contemplation. Actually, no, solitary contemplation. Sorry, it's not lonely. This man, the Hooded Man, has gone off into the winter with just his lamp. He's got the local wildlife on his way, but he's going off to learn something, to gain some wisdom, and then he's going to come back out and teach it. This is what you need to leave behind, the retreating part. You're now at the phase where you're sort of the other way around, coming back out into the world. I really do believe that some of you have been learning about things in secret, maybe tarot, because this is a pick a card tarot reading, that you've been learning a lot about mystical, spiritual, on your own, and developing these skills and exploring your emotions, the Ace of Vessels, new passion, new love, and you've been nourishing yourself with this, the deep moon cup there of emotion, and feeding yourself and possibly even others through your wisdom and knowledge of perhaps you do share these things, actually, because I'm just looking at the King of Stones with the wolf here, which the wolf is howling out to the night. So I'm wondering, actually, looking at these cards, whether some of you, although you're doing it secretively and in an isolated manner, do actually share your journey. I'm just thinking of people when they blog things or do a podcast or even vlogging through like YouTube, where they say, oh yes, I'm learning this new skill, you know, it's usually crafting or something, or maybe that's what I'm drawn to when I watch YouTube videos. And they're like, oh, I'm just building this piece of furniture, or learning a traditional craft like pottery, or whatever. And you just see their journey of progression but you don't know who they are really. They don't always show their face, like I don't, but they share their journey, but in a solitary, isolated way, because this is the King of Stones, and the wolf, and he's a lone wolf in the winter, howling out. So I think that you have been on a solitary journey of discovery, but now its time is at an end. It's time now to end this isolation and to come out into the world, to show others in a more direct way maybe what you have learned, and share your wisdom. Because on their own, no humans there, but just animals on their own. So this is what you need to leave behind, doing things on your own. So if you've been, I don't know, writing a novel, trying to write a screenplay, painting beautiful pieces of art, as I say, making tangible things, now's the time to print off the manuscript. Yeah, print off the manuscript or whatever, and show it to an agent. What do you think about this? Doesn't mean the work's over, but it could be that your magnificent novel about the eternal truth of humanity, and they read it and they're like, oh my god, it's 90% there, let's get you an editor and get it to be 100% perfect. And then in a couple of years' time you're picking up a massive check for winning an international book award or something, because these things do happen. So yeah, you have been on an in-depth spiritual journey that's allowed you to grow emotionally and mentally. You've built your inner resistance. You've definitely developed an important skill, something that's going to hold you in stead for the rest of your life. If you've been off doing a few different things and different skills, one of them in particular is the one that's the one you were meant to learn, and the others are just sort of bonuses. But the time of doing this alone is coming to a close. So if you've been happily the hermit and sort of staying in most evenings, as I say, typing away on your laptop or something, that time's coming to an end, and it's time perhaps to come out into the world a bit more. And I feel that that's an important message, and I understand now why the 5 cards came out, because I can't emphasize enough what an intense spiritual journey that you've been on. I really do feel, I don't actually see another meaning in that other than you've been on a mental, emotional retreat. Not an isolationist one, as I say. It doesn't mean that you haven't been communicating with others, having fun with friends, going on a lovely beach holiday or something. But inside your head and inside your heart, particularly your heart, the Ace of Vessels, you've gone off on a journey and you've learnt something truly wise, truly spiritual. You've ascended to a new spiritual level. If that helps. Yeah. Okay, so, but as I say, that was then, this is now, and these 3 cards, only 3 came out for this. These 3 cards represent what you need to embrace, work on, move towards over the next 12 months. So we have the 2 of Autumn, the Star, and the 2 of Winter. So 2 of Autumn is 2 of Pentacles. This is the Fairy Tarot by Doreen Virtue, by the way. So we've got bring fun into everything you do, juggling multiple priorities or jobs, an exceptional talent for multitasking. Yeah, so you're definitely coming out into the world more because of this element of multitasking. And I feel that you have been focused on more of a solitary one thing, like one skill to learn for some of you. And as I say, it's been solitary and serious. So now you're going to have to come out into the world and have a bit more fun, be a bit more light-hearted. And that fun will be important, because I do feel that although you've been focused on one task maybe over the year, that actually you're going to find that there's more things for you to do over the next 12 months. Some of you might find that you have lots of little jobs, literal little employments that you do. One little job for 10 hours a week, another one for 5 hours a week, another one for 20 hours a week to build up your hours. You might not have the traditional 9 to 5 job, or a series of short-term contracts maybe. And this is where the multitasking comes in. But you're going to be fine, you're going to manage it because you've got the exceptional talent. So you're going to be juggling everything that you need to, or at least you need to make sure you juggle everything that you need to. And that you can do it, you just need to make it more fun and to not feel overwhelmed by it. And this is important because if you have been sort of perhaps not getting out as much, maybe some of you, you might find it a bit overwhelming at first, but you can do it. Because we've got the star. Look to the future with hope and optimism, the power of faith to move mountains, happy changes that bring relief from challenging times. So you need to keep hope all the time, because I think that you will find whatever venture you're moving into, whatever this is that you've learned and now you're coming out into the world to show what you've done, you're going to find it challenging, but you've got to keep your hope up. You've got to maintain the dream. We've got the power of faith to move mountains. So if initially whatever you want to do seems impossible, it doesn't matter. Start it, start the work on it, start to make it a reality, and you'll find that with every problem there comes a solution. Because you'll be positive about it, you're not going to let it get you down. Anything that does go wrong, that you will look forward and say, okay, it's just a little hiccup, it's not the end of the world, come on, we can sort this out, or we'll sort it out tomorrow, maybe, you know, after a good night's sleep we'll find some solutions. Yeah, I think, although it says the power of faith, I think you will take action to make these things a reality because of the Two of Autumn, but that your faith that it will resolve itself is really going to keep your momentum going, keep your energy up. Because we've got indecision is holding you back. Make the choice that's best for you rather than trying to please others. Feeling trapped between the intellectual and the emotional. So yeah, so a lot of you just do need to make a decision. So if this situation here is, as I say, like you've secretly written a screenplay, and your dream is to have a big time Hollywood director directing it, and you just think, no, it's never going to happen. You've got to make the decision that you're going to have the faith that it's going to happen, and that your faith will move mountains, and somehow it will end up seeing it at the cinema at some point. So you need to, instead of trying to please others all the time, you need to try and please yourself. You know, as long as it doesn't harm the people around you, as long as you're saying, okay, we're going to remortgage the house for, you know, put us in negative equity or something, or sell the cars so I can finance this dream film. As long as you're not doing that, there's no reason why you can't say, well, I do want to make this a reality and I do want to try and start a business to raise funding for it or something. It could be anything, getting the money together to start your own business. It doesn't have to be creative. I'm just using those as examples. Because I think, yeah, feeling trapped between the intellectual and the emotional. So I think for a lot of you, what you want, you feel you can't have. That what you want is unachievable, but actually it is achievable. And you need a bigger, more positive mental attitude in order to make it a reality. Yeah, it probably isn't going to be exactly as you fantasized it being, but what is? You know, at the end of the day, what is? You've got to sort of take what you've actually got on offer, which is going to be part of your life, and not follow an empty dream that is just in your imagination. And you can do it, multitasking, and you need to move towards that, even if it does mean working several small jobs. Challenging times, yeah. So don't fear the challenge and the disruptive nature of it. Don't fear it, move towards it, because it won't always be disruptive and it won't always be challenging. You will find the balance between your head and your heart and be able to make decisions. So here we have the last two cards, the Angel Oracle answers deck, also by Doreen Virtue. And we have wait, opportunity. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to say follow your own intuition mainly on this, see if it resonates with your own life. But so I think for a lot of you, it is a slower journey. It's not going to be a straight up journey. It might literally be a year-long journey, and you might need to wait literally for opportunities to come. But there will be opportunities, and this makes sense because we've got the look to the future with hope, happy changes, challenging times, and all this kind of stuff. You know, if it takes you a few months to come to the decision, and this being, you know, takes you a while to learn to juggle and multitask, you're going to need to wait. You're going to need to have patience. But the opportunities are there, and I'm drawn to the fact that there's money here. So I think there will be opportunities to make money for a lot of you. They might not materialise immediately, as I say. It might take a few months. But there will be opportunity to make good money, which is always a plus, particularly in today's economic times where everybody seems to need a bit of extra cash. So yeah, I think you will find the money. Either the thing you want to do will pay for itself and pay for you to live, or you will find, if you wait and sort of explore your options, the opportunity to get funding for whatever you want to do will happen in whatever way that materialises. So those of you that chose option 3, that's your reading. It was a bit longer than I thought because we had the 5 cards. But anyway, it's done. Please let me know in the comments section if it resonates with you. Otherwise, I shall wish you all the best of luck for the future. Please take very good care of yourself. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.